so excited. Look at this sweater. I started this yoke last year and then put it into hibernation. And this week I've been working on the body. The body's finished. Now I'm just working on the sleeves. I have started this sleeve and then I'm gonna pop over to this sleeve so I don't forget how I started it. And yeah, right now I've done 10 rounds of sleeve on the left side, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the right side, and then I'm gonna work back and forth. Otherwise I'll become on Sleeve Island. But this is my ghost sweater, and I'll put the name of the pattern up above, and I'm really happy with it. It fits nicely. I have so many projects I wanna do for fall. I haven't even told you about my yarn advent that I got from Wool and Women Fibers. I'll go through that. But I was kind of looking for my fall bin and I found it. Last year I had all these projects in my head that I wanted to do and I didn't get to do them, and I was like, this year I'll do them. And then the whole move thing happened. So I ran out of time to kind of start everything I wanted to. So I'm going to pick one cast on. And I found it in my bin here. I'll show you. So I got this yarn for a cowl kit and for a color work cowl kit, and it has leaves on it. I forget what else. I'll have to look up the pattern. But I bought this yarn specifically for that pattern. And actually this yarn was designed for that pattern. And then there's some other fall skeins of yarn that I wanted to do something with, but I'm running out of time. So I think this is gonna be my new cast on. And then I'm going to finish my ghost sweater and find another project to finish. I started, during our move, I kind of lost my desire to knit. Knitting used to be really comforting and it's becoming more comforting now. But during our move, I just felt so displaced because I didn't have a home to I didn't have my own home for about 2 months. So I kind of got into sewing, and sewing kind of became my comfort, and I started English paper piecing. I've always wanted to do it, and I watch a vlogger, and I guess you call her a vlogger. It's Kate from The Last Homely House, and she did a tutorial on English paper piecing, and I got addicted to that, and I got addicted to her favorite designer, Kaffe Fasset, and I started buying fat quarters of all of his different fabrics, and I'm doing a quilt, a English paper piecing quilt, and I'll show you the beginnings of it. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen it already. Here it is. It's kind of in the dark, so it's hard to see how vibrant the colors are. But this is what I have so far, and actually, that's what I have put together. This is what I've put together so far. I have a whole bag of hexagons that I finished, so I don't know if I want to lay more of these out into a pattern or if I want to just continue making more. I have a lot of purples and I want to do a lot more greens in there. So yeah, so that's the project that I was working on during the summer. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm a little scatterbrained today. Well, I've been a little scatterbrained for the past few months. Okay, so let's go through my advent that I got from Wool and Women Fibers. This bag is from Aggie. This bag was made by the mother, Aggie. Hi, Aggie. And she makes great bags, and she did not disappoint with this one. I love sunflowers. And inside is all the goodies that I got, and I'll show you. Okay, so this is the bag from Aggie. Aggie's bags. She has her nice little tag on there that she embroiders. But this was an advent box for the fall equinox. And I got 4 skeins of yarn and 4 charms from Sam's Tiny Trinkets. And I actually opened this on my trip. I went to Tahoe to take my mother to visit her sisters. My mom has Alzheimer's, so she needed help with her medicines and things like that. So I was able to go for that. So I brought it with me, and I was able to open it around my aunts, and they really loved it. They thought it was cool. For the yarn, the first one was Falling Leaves. Not pretty. And then day 2 was Hayride. And then day 3 was harvest. We're getting more and more orange in there. And then the last day was pumpkin patch. And then we're completely orange. Isn't that pretty? I am not usually an orange person except during fall. There's something about fall where I start to love oranges, and especially Woolen Women Fibers oranges. She does really nice oranges. They're bright and vibrant, but they're not too bright at the same time. Okay, and then Sam's Tiny Trinkets. These aren't in the order because I do not remember the order. So we have a little pumpkin, a candied apple. We have this little scarecrow. Isn't he cute? Little pumpkin patch. It looks like an apple, maybe a spiced apple cider cup. Now, I don't know if Sam's Tiny Trinkets made this. I would assume she did. It's a magnet, but I don't recognize the initials. The initials say JW on the back. So I've been meaning to ask if she did this or not. But either way, it came in the box and I thought it was such a pretty sunflower. So I'm gonna put that in my fridge. That was a really fun Advent. I'm gonna do their Christmas Advent. I'm not sure if there's any spots left, so if you want a Christmas Advent from Woolen Women Fibers, you better go look now before they either sell out or before they stop the cutoff date for ordering. But yeah, I was really happy with that. And I guess that's all today for crafting. This door makes me crazy. I gotta get them to fix, the landlord to fix it because I get locked inside and I can't get out. There we go. So I've been kind of bouncing around from room to room trying to unpack and hang things, and I wanted to show you this print in my daughter's room. It's from Simply Serving, and she's in love with it. I love it so much, and I thought you might like to see it. I don't know if this print is in her shop, but this came from Simply Serving's Etsy shop, and then I got it framed. I don't remember off the top of my head the Etsy place where I got the frame, but I'll link it, or I'll put it up here so you can see what their Etsy shop name is. But isn't that so cute? The Mouse Detective. My daughter loves it. And another great idea. So my daughter loves storybooks, right? But she hates covers. My daughter does not like the dust cover on her books, so she takes them off. And I either throw them away or what I did here is I used it as artwork. So I found a couple of her favorite stories and I saved the dust cover and I turned it into artwork. So I'm gonna show you. Okay, so here's Cyril and Pat. Until the morning he met Pat, his new best friend, a big gray rat. And then this was also a dust cover. Isn't that great? Oh, and then here's something I embroidered a long time ago before my daughter was born for her nursery. We have an animal emergency. Oh dear. So I've been told that there's a Kaffe Fasset booth, which I am going to find right now. at a quilt show, but I wanted to show you this one English paper piecing quilt that was really cool. You almost couldn't tell that it was English paper piecing, and it was made with Kaffe Fasset Fabric. Let's go look at it. These are all hexagons. They blend so well, it's hard to tell that they're hexagons and paper pieced. There's also these portraits that are really neat. One had hair that was chicken and yarn and a few other things. Butterflies. I want to show you those ones too. Oh, you guys, it's finally Friday and I am so happy it's Friday. It has been a crazy past 2 days. So yesterday I went to a quilt show. A lady I went to church with invited me to her sewing group. She's a Blue Star mom, which means she had a kid in the military. And this group would make quilts for wounded soldiers. So I got involved with them and made a lot of quilt tops for wounded soldiers. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. It was really neat, and I learned a lot from all of them, and they became friends. And then we had our daughter, and I did not do a lot of sewing, and I kind of stopped going to the group, not because I didn't want to, but not because I wanted to stop, but just because I just really wasn't sewing anymore. But every year they go to PQIF, which is a quilt show down in Santa Clara, California. And I decided this year I'm gonna go. So I went with my group and it was a lot of fun. I did the driving. It wasn't as big as it usually is. It was still very good and had a great time, as I will show you. I got a lot of fabric, a lot of fat quarters. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna be working on a quilt I'm still collecting the fabric for it, so I'm not going to start it for a while, but I'll show a picture right up here of what the quilt looks like. And it's all with red and white fabrics. So I was looking for red fabrics, fat quarters, because I only need a little bit of each design. So I didn't need a lot of fabric. So fat quarters is what I did. And then they had a whole Kaffe Fasset booth. Now, if you're a quilter, you probably know who this designer is. I watch Kate from The Last Homely House, and this is one of her favorite designers. He was on a Fruity Knitting episode. So if you watch the Fruity Knitting podcast, you probably know who Kaffe Fasset is. He also, I believe, does textiles and things like that. So Fruity Knitting interviewed him, and that was a pretty neat interview. He designs fabric, and Kate from The Last Homely House made this beautiful English paper piecing quilt. So I've been collecting a lot of fabric, fat quarters, from the Kaffe Fasset collective of fabrics. And I showed you in the last podcast the bag. So they had a whole booth of his fabric. It was amazing, and I was hyperventilating. Like, it was a lot to take in. I have so many fabrics and so many quilt tops in the works. I even have quilt tops that I haven't finished the quilt on. So I could probably do a lot of quilt videos if that's something you're interested in. I don't know. I know this is mainly a knitting channel, but it might turn into a knitting and temporary quilt channel while I use up my fabric, if I can ever do that. But I'll always label it so you know, if you're not interested in quilting, you can be like, skipping this video. And I want to go through these fabrics today. So I'm wondering what's in those bins. My stash here. All of my Heather Bailey fabric. A whole bin of Heather Bailey fabric. I love Heather Bailey. This is all of her older stuff though. These are all finished or in progress quilt tops. Oh, that was a lot of fabric. I think what overwhelms me isn't the fabric, it's all of the unfinished projects. I have quilt tops, half sewn quilt tops. This is a backing for a quilt, and then here's the quilt, the Christmas quilt. Maybe once I organize this next week, I'll go through all the quilt tops and we can talk about it, if you're interested. I have a lot of collections that I was planning on making quilts for my daughter that I never did. Like, I have the Berenstain Bears. I have a whole collection of their fabric. And here's a scrap quilt I was working on for Christmas. It's Friday. Yay, Friday. And then tonight I'll edit the video. Okay, well, I'll see you next week and wish me luck. I have a lot to get done. Bye.